All right. Hello, YouTube. Greetings. Welcome back. Today we are going to do some network testing on everybody's favorite network, Verizon. This route that I'm doing is probably the most important route in the District of Columbia, which is my Omega route. This route is going to be taking us from Arlington Cemetery, across the river, in front of the White House, and towards the United States Capitol. So the reason why I choose this path first is it takes us in front of and near some of the most popular monuments in Washington, around some of the most congestion, probably for Verizon, in the whole District of Columbia. So this is Omega Route 1. So as you can see, Independence Avenue runs parallel with Constitution, south of Constitution, and we're going to do that run separate on different days, so you can see what and how Verizon works in this area. Pretty much how the capital goes, so does the region. So you get a good idea about how DC is faring when it comes to cellular connectivity for the three networks. So today I'm doing Verizon. So we're currently in Arlington right now. And let's go ahead and get a couple test hits before we get ready to move. So just so I can show you that I'm synced up real quick. Alrighty, so 31.4 megabits per second on speedtest.com. Alright, let's set the laptop over here. And 11 up. So remember, people, speed testing is a snapshot in time. So these networks are pretty much very dynamic, but you could tell when there's a lot of users on the network at one time. So we're over here at Arlington Cemetery. A lot of people are traveling in. They're coming over to pay their respects to the fallen soldiers. Remember, people, to when you see a soldier, tell them that you appreciate their service, because they're the ones that signed up and you didn't. So that's how I feel about it. Now let's go ahead and start this path. So I'm gonna go ahead and run InPerv as I'm talking. This is one of those talking head ones that I'm not very good at, but I try to give you as much information as I possibly can. Alrighty. So currently right now we're leaving Arlington Cemetery area and going towards the Memorial Bridge. And then in the distance you should start seeing the Lincoln Memorial for Lincoln. But right now, Verizon in my area, they have connections. So let's say it like this: Verizon has connection. That's not. Can you make a phone call? Yes, but you're not getting all your money's worth right now. I don't use it as my daily driver. I use it as my testing. Like days like today, where I'm testing the network out. And can I make a phone call? Sure can. Can I reliably connect to their network? Yes. But the amount of money that I pay for Verizon, it's not justified if I'm constantly congested on the network. Now, that's premature thinking when it comes to the fact that they're supposed to be getting their um, their frequency bands. They just bought some new allocated spectrum for them about 2 years ago, and it's going to be very interesting when that comes on air in DC. So it's not slated to come on air in DC until late Q4. So all the preliminaries I'm very vague on because I don't know it per se, but I know that it's supposed to be coming late November, maybe December, and I will update this and all my information happily once it starts coming back into town. But right now we are in tourist season and everything is moving. So I want to make sure that I give all the preliminary information on top of the data that I'm going to be revealing on this route today. So on my Omega route, as you can see, tourists, and more tourists. Every single network is getting used down here on the mall. And that's the Lincoln Memorial right back there. All right. So let's get out of this area here. And we'll be turning on Constitution. And we're near the State Department, so you know that Verizon has a lot of government contracts. AT&T has a lot of government contracts, so you know that they must be using their phones also in, near, and around this area. And currently right now, the reflecting pool that overlooks the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument is to our right. This is where the green mall area is to our right, and government buildings is to our left. If you look on the map, you can see exactly where we are. Trying to keep you up to date of exactly where I'm at on this route. Gonna hit with an imperv test. So when C-band comes into play for Washington DC again, then I'll rerun this route along with the Omega Route 2 on the opposite side on Independence to update the video so we can actually see how well Verizon is going to be holding up. I'm going to assume that they already got the antennas in place. They just can't fire them up yet because they were used for satellite purposes, and they have to vacate the satellite companies have to vacate the area or vacate the spectrum before they can start using it themselves. So that means going in and starting to turn off receivers and different other things, and satellites have to be repositioned or be reallocated for something else. But Verizon can't use that spectrum yet. Now I know that they paid money to get it cleared early, but they haven't cleared it yet. And technically speaking, they paid extra money to get it cleared for December or November of this year. They were not really slated to start turning on their new spectrum until next year. So that would have been detriment to their competition against the other two. You're going to let T-Mobile sit on DC with all that speed that we saw and not have no answer for it? That would have been crazy. But as you can see, we are coming close to the White House. Let's see if I can get you a nice little shot of the White House. I might be able to. Oh, it's on the other side of the car. It's right there in that opening. Can't get a good look. But there's the Washington Monument right there. Couldn't get you a shot of the White House this time. Sorry. But Verizon's network is still working, except the congestion is real. They don't have as much capacity as maybe a AT&T or a T-Mobile has right now. But that's, like I said, that comes from the fact that they don't have all their spectrum on air either. And it's not because they don't want it, it's because they can't deploy it yet. But the battle for 5G will be very interesting when Verizon finally puts all feet into the water. There are in DC millimeter wave nodes. I have showed that, but I don't think there's any along this route that I'm on currently. There might be one or two on the independent side, but I don't know if it will reach and or will I connect to it. But we're gonna find out together. Alrighty. We are currently near 15th and Constitution. The African American Museum is to our current right of the ice cream truck. Oh, that's millimeter wave. So there is millimeter wave over here. This is my first time countering it. 1.5 megabits per second. So they must have went on ahead and put a node somewhere over here to try to alleviate some congestion. It must be on top of the building to our left. That's the only tallest pole or place that they would be able to put it at without drawing hatred from the city. So as you can see, it's 1.5 down and 33 up, which means that only thing we're receiving is the millimeter wave as downlink. Let's see what happens with imperv. Imperv did not pick up the millimeter wave this time, so it must be intermittent. But Verizon's trying to do something until their frequencies come into play. I want to say also a disclaimer, this is my very first time hitting this side up and doing this route with Verizon. I've taken some snapshots before, but never a complete run along this side with Verizon solely. So I'm gonna be surprised just like everybody else is. Alrighty. Let's see if I can get a good fast.com before I get out of here. so fast. Ice cream truck stopped. Uh, 3.8. Look like I'm not gonna be able to get it. Alright, so it's a busy day today in the summer heat, so everybody's out and about. Verizon network is holding up, but there are pockets of congestion all over the place. Okay. Crossing 12th Street. Let's correct this map as soon as I get a good chance. There we go. So you can see where I am. Now, once I hit a ultra wideband site, my fast.com will jump. So if it ever spikes above 4 megabits per second, then more than likely you're on ultra wideband for Verizon. The reason why is they limit your ability to pull down a lot of video when you're on LTE. But when you're on 5G and they're ultra wideband, they let you pull as much juice as you can, depending on your cellular plan. Alrighty, almost done with this route. There's a lot of activity on the mall today. Passing the last of the museums. Verizon still stays pretty solid, but their congestion is starting to show, and they really badly need to go ahead and get that spectrum on air. So we're still currently at 4.4 megabits per second on fast, so that means that we have not hit ultra wideband yet, except for that last spot about a quarter mile back. And InPerv test has not been kind to Verizon today. Alrighty. Everybody should start seeing the capital showing up. And we are now in the area where they would have the inaugural. All this whole area would have nothing but chairs for people to sit and look at the new president getting sworn in, or the previous president being sworn in again, depending on your political leanings. So coverage on this area would have to be top notch for all the pictures and everything that would be taken. A couple more. Let's go ahead and get the imperv test out of the way before we get right up to the Capitol. Now, one thing I have noticed is that Verizon AT&T painstakingly make sure that the Capitol stays with the good speed. So all through the district is so-so, but right up along here is where they give it the juice. So as you can see, a lot of people sitting around taking pictures. So many pedestrians, they walk in the streets. Almost in. In the U.S. Capitol. Alright, so imperv 190. So that's the highest I've seen once we got into the district good. So that means that they give all the beans to the Capitol. I think that they have CBRS on air as you get closer towards the Capitol, so more testing will be needed. 245. So they got 245 down and 48.2 up with a 30 millisecond ping. Let's see if we're still being capped. Yep. Even though we got some juice, we're still being capped. At 4 megabits per second. All right, YouTube. I've done all three carriers currently. Verizon is now in the books. Let the comparisons begin on which network has a little bit more capacity currently right now. This is just a documentation. Remember, speed tests are for snapshots to find out how much capacity the respective networks have on air in the area that you're in. So I want to thank y'all for watching my video. Like, share, and subscribe if possible. If you got any thoughts, leave them in the comment. And if you want to be part of the conversation, join my Patreon so we can have a more open discussion. But thank you and have a good one.